Today, we're exploring The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, a book rooted in ancient Toltec wisdom, offering a clear and practical path to personal freedom. This isn't a book about self-improvement in the surface-level sense. It's about questioning the beliefs that shape our lives, the stories that define our identity, and the internal rules we never chose but have spent years obeying. Ruiz begins with a powerful metaphor. The world we live in is a dream. Not a dream in the sense of something imaginary, but a dream made of collective beliefs, a shared reality constructed by culture, family, religion, and language. From childhood, each of us is taught how to behave, what to believe, and what to fear. In this process, we're domesticated. We learn to seek approval, avoid punishment, and adapt ourselves to fit expectations. Over time, we accept thousands of agreements about who we should be, and many of those agreements limit us. He describes two characters that appear inside most people as a result of this domestication. The first is the judge, that internal voice that criticizes, blames, and evaluates every action. The second is the victim, the part of us that absorbs the judge's punishment, believing we deserve it. The judge and the victim keep us trapped in cycles of guilt, shame, and inadequacy. And because we believe the agreements we inherited, we rarely question them. Ruiz's message is that these agreements can be replaced. We can rewrite the internal book of law that governs our lives, and the Toltec path offers 4 powerful new agreements, simple in wording but transformative in practice. Let's walk through them one by one, in the same spirit of clarity that Ruiz brings to the book. The first agreement: be impeccable with your word. According to Ruiz, the word is more powerful than we realize. It's not just a tool for communication, it's a force of creation. What we say to others and to ourselves shapes our reality. To be impeccable with your word means to use language with integrity. It means avoiding lies, avoiding gossip, and avoiding the tendency to speak against yourself. Ruiz uses a memorable example. When you spread negative ideas about someone, you're performing what he calls black magic. You're planting seeds that influence minds and attitudes. Gossip mutates like a virus, traveling from person to person, distorting perception and causing harm. The same happens internally. When you repeat harmful beliefs about yourself, I'm not enough, I can't do this, I always fail, you reinforce old agreements that limit you. Being impeccable with your word isn't about perfection, it's about intention. It means choosing language that reflects truth and love rather than fear and judgment. It means recognizing the power of your voice and using it consciously. The second agreement: don't take anything personally. This agreement challenges one of the most common sources of human suffering. When someone criticizes us, dismisses us, or even praises us, we tend to interpret it as something about who we are. But Ruiz reminds us that people act from their own beliefs, fears, and expectations. Everyone lives in their own dream, their own mental world. If someone insults you, they're expressing something about themselves, their mood, their insecurities, their worldview. If someone praises you, that too reflects their interpretation, not an absolute truth. Taking things personally allows others to control your emotional state. It places your self-worth in the hands of other people's perceptions. Ruiz is clear. Nothing others do is because of you. And when you stop taking things personally, you become immune to many forms of emotional manipulation. This doesn't mean becoming indifferent. It means becoming grounded. You create emotional boundaries that support inner peace. The third agreement: don't make assumptions. Assumptions, Ruiz says, are the cause of a great deal of drama and misunderstanding. When we're afraid to ask questions, when we avoid expressing what we want, when we fill gaps in knowledge with stories we've invented, we suffer. People often assume they know what others think. They assume motives, intentions, and meanings that were never communicated. This leads to conflict, resentment, and confusion. Ruiz argues that almost all relationship struggles can be traced back to assumptions. The antidote is simple: communicate clearly, ask for clarification, express your needs, replace interpretation with inquiry. It sounds easy, but in practice, it requires courage. The courage to be honest, to risk vulnerability, and to prioritize clarity over comfort. When we stop making assumptions, we reduce emotional noise. Interactions become cleaner, more direct, and more authentic. The fourth agreement: always do your best. The fourth agreement ties the other three together. It acknowledges that perfection is not the goal, consistency is. Doing your best means doing what you can in any given moment. Not more, not less. Your best will change depending on your energy, your health, your circumstances. Some days you'll feel strong, other days you won't, but doing your best prevents the trap of self-judgment and regret. Ruiz emphasizes that when you consistently do your best, you break the cycle of guilt and punishment. You act because you choose to act, not because you feel obligated. You build discipline without self-abuse. This agreement transforms the others from ideals into lived habits. When all four agreements come together, something shifts inside us. The judge grows quieter. The victim grows stronger. The inner chaos, what the Toltec tradition calls the mitote, the fog of constant mental chatter, begins to clear. You regain the ability to see reality as it is, not as you've been conditioned to perceive it. Ruiz acknowledges that these agreements are challenging. They require awareness and practice. But each step creates momentum. Small shifts accumulate. Your emotional world becomes less reactive, less burdened by fear, and more aligned with truth. Toward the end of the book, Ruiz returns to the idea of the dream. By adopting the four agreements, we begin to rewrite the dream of our lives. We shed old beliefs, release inherited fears, and create room for joy, clarity, and love. The agreements become tools for personal transformation, not quick fixes, but lifelong companions. Ultimately, the four agreements offers a clear and compassionate message. Freedom is possible. Not the freedom to control life, but the freedom to respond to it with awareness, integrity, and peace. By questioning the unconscious agreements we've inherited and replacing them with conscious choices, we create a new way of living, one grounded in truth and personal responsibility. The path isn't easy, but according to Ruiz, it is profoundly worthwhile, and it begins with four simple commitments that anyone can practice, one moment at a time.